This week, in many ways, has been a microcosm of the Trump administration and a confirmation as to why so many have so many concerns about the competence, comportment, and believability in a group that can be charitably described as the gang who can't shoot straight. Despite condemning prior presidents for military involvement in the Middle East, the isolationist-in-chief authored a secret, significant bombing campaign without congressional approval. In the immediate aftermath, Donald Trump, without any after-action confirmation, described mission accomplished in Iran and complete obliteration of their nuclear program.
Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
In taking his premature victory lap, the Donald couldn't help himself, encouraging talk of a Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts.
Well, they should give me the Nobel Prize for Rwanda, and if you look at the Congo, or you could say Serbia, Kosovo, you could say a lot of them. You could say, the big one is India and Pakistan. I should have gotten it 4 or 5 times. I should get it for the, I would think the Abraham Accords would be a good one too. But what do you They won't give me a Nobel Peace Prize because they only give it to liberals.
The transformation has been so stunning to pivot from the guy who pledged to never get involved in foreign wars to actually discussing regime change in Iran. Trump believed that the bombing campaign was so simple and so successful that you could almost see him believing his own headlines. Then came the messiness that almost always follows military actions. When Israel and Iran immediately broke a ceasefire that Trump ordered but was classically vague in its details, he reminded us that statesmanship and Trump never belong in the same sentence.
We basically have 2 countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Later in the day, a scheduled classified Senate briefing on the Iranian attacks was suddenly canceled. While many rightfully called this a clear abandonment of a White House's legal obligation to inform Congress of a military strike, especially one that never received congressional approval, others called it the no-show evasive and outrageous. But you got the sneaking suspicion that something else was up here. It turns out Trump's early victory lap was, as they said, extremely premature. An assessment produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is an arm of our Pentagon, said not only did our attacks not destroy the core components of Iran's nuclear program, but it only set the program back by a few months. Moreover, the report said Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium was not destroyed, and the centrifuges are still largely intact. The reaction from the president and his acolytes was both swift and predictable. They doubled down on an unconfirmed narrative of complete success of the mission, and in turn attacked both the media for reporting the assessment's findings, which, by the way, they don't deny, and the source at the Pentagon who shared the substance instead of the spin. The takeaway from all this is that Trump's decision to surround himself with supplicants this time around is doing him no favors. A sober team, they would have cautioned the president to wait until our intelligence agencies could deliver an assessment that they would have warned him. Choose your words carefully here, especially regarding regime change, for crying out loud. They would have enlisted congressional leaders in a justified mission instead of cutting them out of the process that has Trump's own base livid and the public opposed. Listen, tough questions now are unavoidable. What is the administration hiding at this point? What are the next steps if Iran's nuclear motivations and capabilities are unchanged? What is the end game of the mission? What about domestic threats of retribution? How credible are they, and should we, the public, be concerned? Will Congress have an advise and consent role going forward, or will Trump continue to act unilaterally? Finally, and maybe most importantly, can we trust this White House going forward, if we ever could? This was all so avoidable, but at the same time, also predictable.